Welcome to our live training session number 44, part 4. In this video, we're going to take a look at tuning our Honda K-Series engine using our Link G4 Plus Fury standalone system in full throttle operation. In our last video, we learned how to map out both part throttle, fuel, and spark timing. So we're going to be taking this the next step now and going into the full throttle area of operation. We're going to learn how to integrate a Bosch flat response knock sensor so we can guide us in tuning our spark timing as we're dialing it in. We're going to have a lot of things to cover in this video, so let's jump in so we can check everything out. Welcome back to our live training session here with our K24 swapped EG Civic running on a Link Fury standalone. In the last video, we learned how to map out our fuel and spark timing for part throttle area of operation. Now we're ready to take a look at optimizing things at full throttle. Now we have our VTEC turned off, we also have our variable cam turned off. So we're focusing on our main fuel table here, our fuel table 1, which is our low cam of operation, and we're going to be learning how to calibrate all that. Now before we go in to do any kind of full throttle tuning, we need to jump into setting up our protection fail-safe features, which we didn't get to yet. We're also going to be setting up our knock control, making sure that works, and then we're going to go through and set up our variable cam control as well. Now I did figure out, I believe it was in the second video, I went to do a cam test, the cam sync test, to make sure that we would be able to figure out where that cam sync position is going to be at. So it was registering the proper position, knowing the neutral position of the intake cam when the variable cam wasn't commanded to move. I figured out why it wasn't going to do that. We'll get into that a little bit later once we get to the point where we want to start to introduce mapping out with our variable cam. So let's first go and set up some of these features, particularly our protection fail-safe features and our knock controls, so that when we start to do our full throttle tuning, everything's going to go pretty smoothly here, and we can go and look at the knock calibration process. Let's jump into our protection features first. Let's go and configure those, jumping in here into protection. We're going to go into our GP Rev Limit 1. This is going to be our general purpose limiter table. This can be used for all kinds of features or functions. I'm going to be using it for oil pressure protection. So if our oil pressure drops too low, we can go and shut off the engine. We don't have to worry about damaging it. I'm going to go here to the limit mode, and I'm going to set it to ignition cut. We'll leave it here on advanced mode as off, and we're going to find startup lockout. I'll have to wait 20 seconds to activate it, and the activation delay here, we'll wait, let's say 2 seconds before it'll kick in and activate a rev limiter. What we're going to do is change this table up here a little bit. I have some room, so let's stretch these tables out here just a bit so we can give ourselves some room that we can edit and work with the values in our table here. I'm going to go and reconfigure this a bit. Let's click H here so we can get some color into the table. We can see a little bit better. I'm going to go into the table. I'm going to click X. That's going to allow me to edit this. In the Y-axis, we're going to be editing this for oil pressure. So we type in here oil pressure. It's going to bring it up here. Now oil pressure right now I believe is in units of kPa. Let's click OK here and just verify that. Yeah, units in kPa. So we need to go and edit and work with units of kPa. Now if you want to go and change this around here, I'm more familiar with working with units of PSI. I feel a bit more comfortable with that, especially referencing oil pressure. What I'm going to do is just go to units and jump into options, and I'm going to switch it back to PSI for right now, and then I can switch it back to kPa so that my fuel tables or my spark timing tables reference units of kPa rather than units of PSI. It's a little bit odd to work in. Click OK. So now we can see we're working in units of oil pressure. Let's go back here and click X. Let's delete all of our breakpoints here, and let's start off with new ones that are going to make a bit more sense here and implementing an oil pressure failsafe protection. So we're going to have one at 0. We're going to have one here at 10. We're going to have one here at 20. Let's do one here at 40, and then 60, and then we'll do here one at 100. It's fine. Engine speed. Let's go here and do one at, we'll get rid of 500. And then we'll skip this. We don't do 15, we won't do 25, we won't do 35. We don't need to be that specific here. We can just do in 1,000 RPM increments. That should be fine. Now we haven't done a wide open throttle pull to figure out where the oil pressure versus engine RPM is going to be at. We'll do that in this video. We can populate this table out here a little bit better, but what I'm going to do here is just raise all my values in the table, do Control S and save it. I'm going to put the rev limiter in the table here at 10,000 RPM. That way, I don't have to worry about this kicking in prematurely. We can evaluate the data from a full throttle pull to properly populate the oil pressure versus the actual engine RPM so that we can put a limiter in place if it creates a problem, if we get our oil pressure too low. The next table here, our GP Rev Limit 2 table. we can do this based on coolant temperature. So let's just do that based on coolant temp. Now we could do this on other options, not just, we see oil pressure. We could do it on a lean protection. So if we get too lean at full throttle, it could shut things down. I'm not super worried about that. Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.